If it weren't for missionaries, I would not be here. My dad is Cambodian, and as a child, he suffered at the hands of the Khmer Rouge. There's a genocide in Cambodia that killed over 2 million people, but miraculously, my dad and his parents and many of his siblings survived. My dad was separated from his family as a child and forced to work in labor camps, picking cotton, and they were fed just watery rice every day as a ration. And he and his sister escaped to the refugee camps in Thailand. And there were Adventist missionaries working, and he learned about God. He and his sister were baptized in the camps, and then they were later sponsored to France. My mom was a short-term missionary in the refugee camps, but at a slightly different time than my dad was there. And she was working there as a nurse, taking care of the refugees. She made a friend there and met my dad there in France. And they started to talk and eventually got married. My mom sponsored my dad to America. And then I came along. So, even though I spent a few years as a missionary kid, I never really pictured myself being a missionary until my junior year of high school. That year, I saw God working in my life in a way that I had never personally experienced before. And that was when I developed a strong personal relationship with Him. So it's hard to describe, but it was like I just had this message put into my brain, into my heart. You're gonna be a medical missionary in Cambodia. And it was just like, I knew that that was what I was supposed to do. So from then on, I became passionate about this direction in my life, and I planned my life around it. I went and took nursing at Southern Adventist University. In the process, I met Eric, my husband. And right away, while we were just starting to get to know each other, I made it very clear that I had this life calling. And so we saw God leading in our relationship, and eventually we got married. So my calling was actualized when we moved to Cambodia in 2018. I often think back on this timeline with awe, how God protected my dad in miraculous ways and led my parents across the ocean to each other, how He placed missionaries in the refugee camp to share the gospel with those people who were in such a hard time in their life and needed God in such a strong, tangible way, and the way God has led me through my life to bring me to where I am now. And then I see God in how He impressed upon my heart to come back to my dad's homeland and continue the work of sharing the gospel with Cambodians, so that more Cambodians can hopefully be at the banquet table in heaven with us. I honestly can't imagine doing anything else with my life other than this. This is where God has placed me. This is where I'm supposed to be. And it's so fulfilling to know that I'm here and where He has called me to be. What is He calling you to? It might not be as clear of a message as I had in my head, but I can guarantee you that God has a plan for you. And if you take the next step forward, He will lead you. So I would encourage you to take a step towards missions with an open heart and see what God has next for you.